What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Torrence here, and as I promised you all, this week I am doing 4 tutorials. I want you to do 3 different tutorials, starting off with a beginner one, an intermediate one, and this final one here is going to be my expert level. Although it looks like it's a whole bunch going on, and it is, I'm going to call this expert level simply because I feel as if most people don't go through all these steps. But I don't think this is something where you need to be a pro or anything like that to achieve this look. It's a bunch of tiny little steps that do take more time than a normal look, but these are all things that can be achieved. I believe if I haven't used these exact products on my channel before, I've used something like them before, like let's say with the highlighter I'm wearing. I've never worn this particular highlighter, but I've worn this formula on my channel many times. You all know the Oh Darling is my absolute favorite. So it's just showing you different ways of using things you already have in your collection. If you are someone who already knows how to carve out your brows using regular pomade, I promise you, learning how to do it with this color here, it's going to be much easier. I'm someone who can't afford to go out and buy different color pomades every time I want to do a different switch up. With eyeshadows, I don't mind. I don't do it enough with my brows, so we did us a little cheat code, use the white pomade, and I'll show you how we can turn this white pomade into any color you want. But I wanted to keep my word to you all, make sure I got all 4 videos out and make sure all 3 of them were tutorials. This one here, as you can see, she the most dramatic of them all, like I promised you all. But if you all like this look, I would really love it if you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're also subscribed to the channel. If you're already subscribed, I would like to say thank you. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. But without anything else, let's go ahead and get into this tutorial. Alright you guys, it's time to get into this video. I tried pre-recording this yesterday and it just did not go well. The sound was completely off, so I just figured we can go ahead and scrap that and start over. So today, because I'm feeling a little salty, I had to redo it. And I got to stay up all night to record this after work. We really about to go ham. Get ready, honey. So instead of just using one palette like I planned on doing yesterday, which was going to be the BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop Cotton Candy palette, I wanted to use this simply because I know you all really love purples. So I'm like, okay, Torrence, we can go ahead, we can do this one. I had a purple shirt yesterday, it was gonna be fly. Today, because I'm feeling salty and because I want to take it to the next level, we're gonna go ahead and throw in the extra palette. Today, we're gonna use the BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop in Pistachio. Y'all already know, greens are my favorites, black is my favorite after that, which is why I'm wearing my black shirt today. I made sure we put on our little Andy Warhol inspired shirt to show off, honey. We about to go ham. We about to switch up the colors. We're going to be doing the most. And I'm trying to see which shades will swatch easier. I'm going to go ahead and swatch the green ones first just because I think green has a slightly less chance of staining than purples do. So before we get started, I want to give you a view of both palettes and make sure that I give you all swatches. So let's go ahead. I'm going to cut away and then I'll be right back with these swatches. I wanted to show you all what it looked like before I swatched it, just so you all can see that waffle cone pattern on the top. It does appear on the bottoms as well, but I don't believe it's as clear and as vivid. As you can see, it does appear on the mattes as well, but it's not as vivid. The deepest shade there, Cone or Cup, has a BH logo on it. I want to try to get a view of that for you. And before we give you swatches, I want to give you one more slow close-up of this palette. Beautiful shades, beautiful color story. Honey, look at these colors. This is exactly the type of color story I go for. The fact that we have 8 different colors, 4 mattes, 4 metallics, and you can see a difference in all 8 colors. This is what I'm talking about. I want to give you the shade names of these left to right. The shades are starting on the top row with the 4 metallics. Shade number 1 is Sweet Life. Number 2, Dessert. Number 3, Treat. Number 4, Crunch. Number 5, Soft Serve. Number 6, Guilty Pleasure. 7, Nutty. And the last shade is Cone or Cup. And before we go over to the purple palette, I want to give you close-up swatches of this one. Like, honey, get into these colors. All I can say is if you were eyeing the, which one is it? The Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions palette, but couldn't afford it because of the $48 price tag. I don't know about the quality of this one, but the colors alone are absolutely stunning. And they look very similar. Alright you guys, and this here is the purple palette. It is absolutely stunning. It has the same waffle cone printing on the metallics here. And you can see if we get a close-up, the pattern is there as well on the mattes on the bottom. That last shade, once again, has that BH Cosmetics logo on it. But I wanted to make sure I gave you all close-up views of this palette before we went in and gave you the swatches as well. And these colors here are absolutely stunning. I'm really looking at that second shade Sugar because it looks like it's going to be a dual chrome. Baby, 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 when I tell you the swatches on this palette were beautiful, they were beautiful. It seems like these have a much more dual chrome effect, especially with those shimmers. Just by judging it off swatches alone, I can tell you that the third shade there, Swirl, is the most pigmented of the metallics. That fourth shade, Twirl, was a lot softer than I expected, so I will be very careful if you plan on using your finger with that. Also for the mattes, that very first shade seemed the hardest pressed, but when you look at it and notice that it is a pastel, that explains it for me. But before we go ahead, I want to make sure I give you the shade names of all 8 shades as well as a close-up swatch. The shades left to right are number 1, Fluff, number 2, Sugar, number 3, Swirl, 4, Twirl, 5, Confection, 6, Sugar Plum, 7, Light and Airy, and last but not least, number 8, Carnival. And here is what a close-up view of all 8 colors look like. They are absolutely beautiful. Please forgive me if I do not have the best view or the best handling on these palettes whenever I'm showing you all swatches. Although I have gotten better with swatches, it is a little difficult for me to try to hold the palette right there by the camera while also trying to make sure I have a good view, because when you're looking at the lens finder and you say, okay, I need to move it a little bit to the right, the camera's giving you a reverse image, so you really got to move it over to the left. I'm also trying to speak and make sure I don't overpower my mic on my camera. So I'm going to get better with time, but I'm hoping you all truly do appreciate the swatches and the commentary for them. But we've been talking long enough and it's time to get into this. Once again, we're supposed to be showing out with the cotton candy, but I got to go extra with this pistachio as well. So as with all tutorials, any and all products used today will be in the description bar below, but we need to get into this because I got to go to work. First up, honey, because I feel like doing the most, we're going to go ahead and switch these brows up. Normally, I would already have my brows laid out as well as my primer down, but because we're being extra today, that ain't going to be it. So what we're going to need, because I'm trying to be truly shocking, is a spoolie and an angled liner brush. We're going to first take our spoolie and brush our hairs up. And because this is going to be my expert level video, let's go ahead and switch up this color. We're going to take our favorite brow pomade, well, our favorite white brow pomade. This is the 24-hour Super Brow Longwear Pomade in the shade Whiteout by KVD Vegan Beauty. I wanted every single color of these when they first came out and couldn't afford them. Then I realized if I just go in and buy the white, I can create whatever color I want. And that's usually what I do, is dip straight in. Oh, you can't even see that dip in there. But I do have a divot in here, and I'm going to use the spatula from MAC. Just scrape me some out and put it on the back of my hand to speed this process up, huh? We just got some right here. We probably got way more than we need, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And basically what we're going to do, once we have this through, is sweep this through the brows with our angled brush. I'm not saying you have to be precise with this, because you truly don't, but the less mess you make now, the easier it is to clean up later. So what I like to do is start at the base of my brows and pour straight up and then spoolie that color through. You want to try to cover the tiniest bit below and above your brows, so that way when you go to clean it up, you can have a sharp edge that covers the entire area of the brow. And you see I just have my angled liner brush just covering everything. Once again, go a little bit above and a little bit below. Our main concern is just having every hair coated with this white pomade. Just like that. Baby, it looked like we went to the salon to get a tanning or a bleaching session on this mud. Then we're just going to brush it straight through. You want to make sure that the skin underneath is preferably covered as well. That way when we put our color down, it makes it easier to block these bad boys off. And for me, I like to brush them straight up and then lay them down to get the thickest, fullest brow I can possibly achieve. Just like that, hon. I'll be right back after I do this on the other side. Baby, look at that. And you see one side, we definitely went a little bit bigger than the other side because, honey, it's hard to get them even, honey. My brows are sisters. They are not twins. And with a look this dramatic, honey, I really ain't even worried about it for real. But now we got this going. Ooh. Yeah, I've always wanted to bleach my brows, but looking at that now, I don't see that happening no time soon. Okay, now what I'm doing is just cleaning off my brush by wiping it up against the back of my hand. We want to try to get as much of this product off this brush now. It's not going to come completely clean, but we don't need it to do so. Now for our first step, we're going to fill in our brows with this green shadow here on the end. This is Cone or Cup. We're going to use this particular one because I believe it's the darkest one and will create the most dramatic effect. The next one that's a little bit darker here just doesn't seem like it'll be deep enough for my complexion. So we're going to take this last shade in our same liner brush and just pat that on top of the white area. Alright, and what I've found is instead of just getting the powder on the very tip, I just lay my brush sideways and sweep it across. And then we're just going to flick this color straight up into the brows. Let me grab it, sweeping up the other way. So that way when I come in like this, it's a little easier. And I am getting some fallout, which is why I'm doing this first. And honestly, looking at this color and the way it's deepening up, I probably could have went in with that shade that's a little bit lighter. But we too deep in now, sis. Baby, and I'm just going to take, and as you can see, we just sweeping this through, and it's instantly creating that new color for us. And the thing is, having some of those light areas peek through give your brows some natural highlights going on. And I'm just going to keep sweeping, keep dipping, and going back in and covering all those areas. And once again, I like to go a little higher and a little lower than what my brows naturally are. So when I go in to clean things up with my concealer later, we still have a fully green brow. Now it's just a matter of getting these ends in, covering all of that up. And see, I'm telling y'all, honey, I know I titled this video Expert Level, but it's just a bunch of baby steps that you have to take to achieve this look. Chances are, if you already know how to fill in your brows with the pomade, you can recreate this look here. Alright, now you just see this green is coming off with a nice light blue undertone. But at the end of the day, that part don't matter to me. We just going for the dramatics. I think next time I use this palette, I would go in with that shade that's a little bit lighter. But tell me she ain't cute, honey. Look at that brow. You can already see where that white is coming through. It gives me an indication of exactly where I want to clean up. But things ain't got to be perfect right now, because, honey, we ain't perfect. The makeup ain't gonna never be. But we can get it to a satisfactory level. Bam, bam, bam. All right, now that we're satisfied with that, we're just taking our brush, sweeping it through, making sure I don't see any white patchy areas. Then we're going to take our spoolie, just brush straight through that. We don't want to try to completely disrupt the product, but I want my natural hairs to try to stick up and above that color, just to make it seem like my brows are now that color and not just a color sticking there. Now all we have to do is do this on the other side, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, baby. As you can see, honey, we got two completely different things going on. I ain't worried about getting them perfect. I'm just worried about getting them covered. But now it is time to go in and try to clean things up. And for that, we're going to need a full coverage concealer. Honey, in my opinion, you can use whatever concealer or foundation and brush combo that you would like. It's going to ensure that you are most comfortable when you're doing it. For me, I find that I get the best results when I'm using a small paddle brush or a flat shader brush. This one here is called the concealer brush, which honestly is perfect for that as well. This one is from IT Cosmetics. It's just thin, it's flat, and it has this slightly rounded tip here. And that's the reason why I love it, is because it makes sure I can go underneath the brows and create sweeping motions if need be to clean up things. And to make sure we don't have anything that's too loud and too bold, because let's say if I wanted to clean this up with a concealer that's 3 or 4 shades lighter than my complexion, it's going to create a halo effect underneath the brow. And with your natural brow color, that may be wanted. With this one here, I really want the brows to stand out as their own, and then the eyeshadow as well. I don't want that halo effect around my brows. So I'm going to go in with something that matches my complexion. This is the Nars Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Medium Dark 2. I wear Medium Dark 2 in foundations, and so anytime I want something to spot conceal, I really like to go in with something that's my complexion, not a highlighting concealer. And so we're just going to scoop some of this out using the other end of my spatula here, because I don't want to risk double dipping. You see, we still had some of that white product left just in case I needed to go back in, but we're just going to take this here. And we want to try to use the smallest amount possible. I know we've all seen those videos of people who clean up their brows and then bring that concealer down to go ahead. Honey, you don't need that much. With this, you want to just make sure the tip of your brush is coated. Grab you a nice little mirror. And what we want to try to do is just clean up well enough to the point where we don't have that white edge peeking through. And I always recommend that you start off low and then get closer to where you actually want it. So first we're going to start off just basically tracing the outline we did put down. And once we feel the need to get closer and clean anything up, we can do so. Like right here, I feel as if I can bring my arch up a little higher and come closer to the tail. Like that. Then I want to look at it. I want to bring this front end up a little higher. I feel as if I brought it down a little far. Come up a little better. Okay, and then so far, it did lose my zoom right there. All right, you see what we have so far? I still feel as if my brow is coming down a little further than what I would like. Then we're going to come here over the top and just do the same. Start off a little higher than where you want it, and then you can always get closer to the brows as you clean up later. Okay, you see how even though we have a ton of concealer down right now, you can barely see that color there because it's matching my complexion. I'm trying to get it to a point where you can see that lighter shade that's streaking right there. But when we go in to buff it out, it'll be much more flattering to get rid of. Now I just want to come down a little closer to the actual hairs because I feel as if it's high. Sharpen my tail up a little more. Alrighty, and now we just want to keep looking and see what do we think is weird about it. And for me, I still feel as if my tail comes down a little. My brows are not cleaned up as high and as sharp as they could be. And if you notice the color from your eyeshadow starting to bleed into the concealer, you might want to just pick up a little more concealer and go back in. Bam. Right now, she ain't perfect, and I probably do want to take my arch up a little higher. But we're going to leave this like this. We're going to clean up the other brow. But then we can always come back and see what do we have to change on one brow to get them to look a little more in sync. So I'm just going to try to get this one to match this first one. And I'll be back, because you can see she came down a lot further than this one here. But I'll be right back. Whoop, almost dropped my mirror, girl. Thick thighs saves mirrors and lives. Alright, now what you see what we got going on, honey? She ain't perfect. She ain't perfect, but tell me in the end she ain't gonna be beautiful. We're gonna go ahead and say we spent enough time on this and jump to the next step. And now that we've completely carved out our brows, you can look and see we don't have a complete halo effect going on. Although, trust me, if I get closer, you can see there is a thick layer of concealer there. But because she's our complexion, she's going to be much easier to blend out. So first, I'm just going to take this buffer brush just because it was the one closest to me. And we're going to just diffuse those lines. It's not necessarily something that is going to be seen very harshly, but because we are going to be laying product on top of this, we want the thinnest layer possible. And the one thing you do not want to do is erase the line that is extremely close to the what's name, to the brows. Because with that being a tinted product and this being a wet concealer, you do risk that color bleeding. So my main concern is just diffusing the edges so it's not a completely sharp and harsh line. And honestly, you could use this brush to go ahead and separate them. But as stated earlier, because we're going for the dramatics, to me having this looking boxy right here don't even matter. And then look at that. Bam. Bam. They ain't perfect. And this brow, you can tell this is the one that I messed up on. But I'm right-handed. This the left brow. But sis, I promise you, ain't nobody gonna be focused on that in the end. We're gonna keep it moving. Go ahead, clean her up just a little bit. For eye primer, we're gonna stick to what we know and go to the Soft Ochre Paint Pot by MAC. She's absolutely fabulous. I'm gonna pick up a different buffing brush. This one's from e.l.f. as well, simply because that last one has our flesh tone concealer on it, and we want this eyeshadow to be bright and popping. So we're just gonna take, I always just dip my brush into my paint pot once, maybe twice, because it is extremely full coverage. I like to put it closest to the lash line here, and then just go up and buff it out from there. This stuff has a waxy texture, so you do not want to go ham with this. I repeat, do not go ham with this. The smallest amount will get what you need done. And we're gonna brush this all the way up to the brow, but once again, we do not want to disturb the concealer color we have exactly closest to it, because there's already concealer there. Once we lay a powder on top, it will set that area. And you see what this side look like now? If we would have tried to go in and use something like a lighter concealer, it would have created that halo effect. But right now, we're just creating that base for our eyeshadow. And I'll be right back after I do this on the other side, because there's nothing spectacular about watching me blend that out. For me, I find that I'm most comfortable when I set my eye primer, just because I feel as if it gives me a softer blend. And so we're going to go ahead, use our Real Technique setting brush. We're going to swirl this around in some colorless powder. I generally prefer colorless powders over translucent ones. I find translucent powders absolutely beautiful for the face, but for the eyes, I don't want anything to come through and alter my color. And so I go for a colorless powder. Once that's set, just dust off your brush. Tweak this across to remove any excess powder that we may have accidentally laid down. Alright, now that we got these brows going on, and honey, they are doing the most and I am loving it, it's time to show them what these purples is about. I know I'm trying to do the most and I probably ain't got time to do all of this, but we're going to make time today. Since we got 4 mattes and I truly believe I can use them all, we're going to use this shade here, Carnival, as a transition shade for the front half. And then we're going to use this shade here, Confection, for the transition on the outer half. Be right back. All right, let's see what this pigmentation is about. We got Carnival first, honey. She is very, very soft and powdery in the palette. But look at that. She came out the bat swinging. Look at how fast and how pigmented that is. Sis, when I tell you I truly was not ready, I might get through with this eye look a lot faster than what I thought. So what we're going to do is just try to buff that up as high and as wide as we can. We only want to take it to the halfway point. This is a transition shade, which means we're going to put another shade below it to deepen it up. And you can see how pretty that is when I went ahead and blew that all the way up close to the brow. I still have a gap in between. But honey, that is some serious pigment. I was not expecting that. So I'm going to go ahead, jump and do this on the other side, and I'll be back real quick. Sis, look at that. Just these colors alone already let you know, like, are you okay, sir? Do you need some help? No, we don't need no help, honey. We just need a little more time. We about to go ahead and jump into this other shade. I want to take and try to knock off as much of this color off this brush as possible. Actually, instead of using the back of my hand, I'll be right back. I'm not a big fan of using brush cleaners on my natural hair brush because I feel as if it can start to slightly damage the hairs. Natural hairs need to be treated a lot more delicate than synthetic bristles. So what I use is a cheap microfiber cloth. You just take it, rub it across here, and as you can see, it's bringing most of that pigment out. It's not going to get everything out, but I feel as if a microfiber cloth is much more softer than those plastic, netted looking brush cleaners that they have on the market. And these are cheaper. You can get these like $4 for $1. Now it's time to go into Confection and do our outer half. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, when I did my swatches, this shade Confection was the most hardest press, and I believe it's a pastel, and me and pastels don't generally get along, but we gonna give her, a fair shot, because she did pick up very easily on the brush. And right now, it's not looking like it's giving me any issues. She's definitely not coming off as loud as that Carnival shade, but once again, this is a pastel, and I can truly see her there. I believe she's even showing up on camera. So I'm gonna buff this up a little bit higher, spend a little more time trying to achieve this color. I'm gonna go in with one more layer just to try to get opacity out of this shade here. And instead of dusting off my brush this time, we're just gonna place it down. We can go ahead and cover up that outer V as well. Let me get a little bit more. Because if we need to cut that off, we can always come back and do so. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and buff and blend that out. Not really worried about fallout right now because we are doing our eyes first. My main thing is getting a nice soft high blend. Whenever I'm going to come in with another color, I want to make sure that first color does not disappear. And because we're going to clean up underneath this later, we're not worried about how far and how low we get this. Just get that color down, baby. Just like to sweep it up and out and make sure that color is vibrant. All right, you see what we got going there? We're gonna go ahead and do this on the other side, and I'll be right back. And look at this, honey. We are already bringing the drama. We are already giving ourselves life. But I'm not ready, so let's go ahead and get into these crease shades. With 2 matte shades left and me wanting to use all the mattes in this palette, we're going to first go in with this shade here, Light and Airy, on the front half of our crease. Then we'll go in with Sugar Plum for the outer half. Alright, this shade here, Light and Airy, I am expecting to be dark and pigmented. So we're going to start off right here low in the crease. And I want to keep this color rather low just to get it pigmented, and then we'll lift it up to diffuse it because we do not want our transition shade to disappear. And she's honestly, light area is coming off as a slightly darker version of Confection, the color we have on the outer half. So I want to go in with one more layer just to make sure she don't truly get deeper than what she already is. She's coming through, but I would honestly like one more deep dark purple in this palette. But now that we have that crease shade going, we can go ahead, lift that up and diffuse the edges. And because this brush is smaller than our first brush, it won't cover up that first shade. Okay, my crease is darker on this side than this side. But truth be told, light and airy is coming off that way with pigmentation. She ain't giving me quite what I was hoping for. So we're going to go in with one more layer and use this just in the lowest half of the crease since we've already diffused it, and try to keep that right there to give us some color and some depth in our crease because I have hooded eyes and I love deep dark jewel tone shades. Alright, she a little bit deeper, but she truly ain't giving me what I want. But we're going to go ahead and skip ahead, do this on the other side, and I'll be right back. With time passing by since I've gone ahead and done this first side, it has deepened up a little bit, but I'm still holding firm with the fact that I really wish that light and airy shade was about 2 shades deeper than what it currently is. But we're going to keep it moving. I'm going to clean off my brush and then we'll skip to the outer half. Alright, now we got this shade Sugar Plum. And Sugar Plum is honestly coming off deeper than what I expected it to be. She's definitely deepening up this outer half. You can tell that for sure. There's no doubt about that part. Giving us a nice color to blend that up into. We don't want to cover our transition shade. But by just pressing this down right here and buffing this up. And baby, I just realized once I cut my crease, I'm dang sure about to cover that up. So I don't even know why I did my outer V this early. You only really have to focus on your crease and buffing up. And that went through a whole lot faster than I expected. So the Sugar Plum shade, she's beautiful. If I could have got another shade like this even deeper, that's probably what would have did it for me. But you can tell this side has definitely got a deeper crease than this side here. So we'll be back after we do the same on this side. Honey, look at that. Right now, things are a mess, honey. I give you that. But wait till we cut this crease. Honey, I done used a lot of glitter adhesives over the years, but I promise you, it's amazing how this next one is just so cheap and so good. And if you can catch it at Ulta during that buy one get one half off sale, or during the next 10 times the points, baby. But we're gonna go ahead and use that on a tiny brush, and we want to use this to cut our crease. And because I am doing the most today, we are definitely doing the most, we're gonna go ahead and cut real high. And then I think we also gonna cut in front of our lid. You know what, why not? Bring this brush right here in front. One head's length right there. Then you try to connect everything to the crease you already made. The thing is going to be high, it's going to be over the top. Yes. Then you want to spread and get an even layer, because although we're not applying glitters, I absolutely love glitter adhesive for eyeshadows, because I feel as if you're strong enough to hold a chunky piece of plastic on the eye, I know you can hold a smooth piece of powder now. Yes, ma'am. Make sure we get that outer half. All right, now we're gonna do this on the other side and I'll be right back. Baby, 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 let me tell you. Ain't no good about to come from all this mess that we about to do. But you know I'm gonna do it. You know I'm gonna do it anyway, sis. But before we get into these lid shades, we want to take that lash brush and our shade Sugar Plum and put that right back here on the outer V. I want to try to pull this back far today because I want more room to apply eyeshadows. So we only gonna go about the halfway point of where we already have that purple there. Alright, is everything good? They might not be perfectly even, but you know what, sis? Remember we told you, they just got to be twins. I mean, they got to be sisters. They ain't got to be twins. A little bit on that side, a little bit on this side. Let's keep it moving. Because I want to create a really dramatic effect, I'm not sure exactly what colors I want where. We're going to start off with Swirl in the front of the eye because it's the darkest and it's going to give us the most dramatic effect. Then because I feel as if it'll pop against it the most, we're going to put Twirl in the middle. And then because it's dual chrome and I guess to have it, we're going to end with Sugar right here on the outer half. So let's get into it. Alright, we got the shade Swirl right here. We're going to start with that all the way in the front half. Because remember we cut our crease in front of the lid. And we're going to put that down first. She was the hardest pressed and the firmest in the pan. So it may take a second to get her to full opacity here. And honestly, she cute. But I feel as if she goes too well with that matte shade we already have down. So to help accentuate that, we might have to go in and do a little something later on. See that? She's almost blending in and disappearing with that first shade. So we might switch things up a little bit. I think we are. We're going to go ahead and see if we can add Twirl on top of that and see what that does. But we're going to bring Swirl to the other side first so things are even. So I'll see you in a second. Be right back. Just to see if that color is going to give me a little bit more, I'm going to go into Swirl with a silicone applicator. I don't think it's really going to help. I believe because of the tone of that shade, it's what's making it appear the same. Yeah, like even with this, it truly enhanced the shine, but it's not enough where you can tell the difference. So I'm going to have to do something later on to help accentuate that, but we're going to wait till the end. Yeah, in person I can see the difference. On camera I really don't think so. So we're just going to go ahead and jump to the next shade. Now this shade here, Twirl, I remember when I swatched it, I want to bring this up to about the halfway point. It kept looking a little patchy because it was extremely creamy. And something tells me the silicone applicator is what will definitely help this shade. And truth be told, if I would have reversed these two, they might have come out a little bit stronger. But we're not worried about that right now. We're going to go ahead and put this on. And she builds beautifully with a brush. Something tells me that silicone applicator will make that even stronger. Cleaned off my brush with my microfiber cloth. Now we're going to go into Sugar and we're going to fill up the last of this area. This one seems to be acting more like that shirt. This one is acting more like the shade Twirl, where I truly believe I'm going to go in with that silicone applicator and get a stronger color payoff. But what I can admit is that the shift on this one looks a little bit stronger. Honey, look at that. Honey, look at the full and the shine on that. And I just want to grab some with this silicone applicator just to see if she's going to intensify. To me, it made it easier to pile a large amount on. Oh yeah. She's definitely giving me more coverage, more shine, more foil. But I got to be honest and admit, she's also giving me more fallout this way. So I would take my time, go slow with this. And if you're going to use a silicone applicator with the shade Twirl, you want to make sure you have an adhesive underneath it because, baby, the fallout is there. Okay, so with that shade, if you want to use just your brush, she's good. But if you use a silicone applicator, you will get more pigmentation. Sis, everything about this look is looking airy and dreamy and beautiful. And I'm sitting back trying to tell myself, what can you do to increase this? What can you do to add a little more va boom to it? And I just thought about it. We never use that shade Fluff. I can go ahead, take that silicone applicator and see if we can layer Fluff on top of this front shade here just to see if it'll give us a little extra depth and dimension. All right, now that we have a little bit of Fluff here, we're gonna just try to see if we can layer that. To me, she adds a little bit of something to it, but I wouldn't say it's enough to go ahead and change anything for real, but just because we already doing the most, we're gonna go ahead and add that on top of there anyway. Honey, this is a whole lot of color going on. But I'm not through and you should have already known that. So what I want to do is cut away. I'm gonna finish off my face, and when I come back, I'm gonna show you how we'll finish off the eyes. Actually, I just got an idea. Instead of finishing the entire face, we're gonna come back and finish off the eyes and the lips. Got a surprise for y'all. Honey, I told y'all we was doing the most. And we still ain't done yet. But off camera, I wanted to show you all everything that I've used so far. For blush, I wanted to go into an old favorite formula, the MAC Extra Dimension formula. I love it. I don't care if it's the highlighters, the blushes, the bronzer. I love the MAC Extra Dimension formula. So today we are wearing the blush. This is the only purple shade I have because on my complexion, it can come off looking like a bruise and look like someone punched me instead of me actually just wearing blush. And this is a glowy blush. It's called Wrapped Candy because we're wearing the eyeshadow in cotton candy. I'm like, oh yeah, you're perfect. I put that on and it gave me a nice soft purple glow here, but I wanted to take that to the next level. So I went in with a highlighter from MAC. This is Soft Frost. This is their Extra Dimension Skin Finish formula. And although I've had this thing for years, I've never used it. There's just never been a point in time where I had a client whose skin was this light and needed something this dramatic, because this either has a purple or blue undertone to it, so you can see how it just reflects in the light. So I put this on top of my blush to help bring a glow to the skin, but you can see I still have it here on the arch of my nose, and it's just enough to make you do that double take and say, wait, is that a purple highlighter? But not so much where it screams that from across the room. And I just want to show you all, like, this formula is just so beautiful. I went in with my fan brush, just dipped and swirled it on both sides because I'm being lazy. Just turned my head to the side and went. And you just see how that purple just picks up a little bit more, honey. Let's not be stingy. Share with the fam. Add a little bit more here. I'm already wearing highlighter, but honey, you can never go too much, especially when we're going for a dramatic look like today. For mascara, all week I've been testing out the Marc Jacobs At Lash Lifting and Volumizing Mascara. I'm telling you, she's beautiful. When I first used it, I thought she was okay. The second time, she was amazing. This time, I decided to wear it with a mascara primer. Look at those. Honey, I didn't even need lashes. Normally, I don't like wearing lashes at work because I have to wear goggles. But today, I'm like, my eyes are so popping and the lashes look so full. Normally, I would consider this more of a separating and lengthening mascara, but with this primer, the volume is truly there, honey. I'm loving her. I'm not quite sure I love her enough to repurchase, but I would truly be using this whole sample up. On the lower lash line, I'm wearing my favorite eyeliner, Psychedelic Sister by Urban Decay. You can't tell me nothing about it. You can't tell me nothing about this purple eyeliner. To me, she is absolutely flawless. She's beautiful, she's pigmented, long lasting. I think I wear this more than my Demolition and my black one just because she's that pretty. And although I've never been the hugest fan of eyeliner, once I tried this one, I instantly fell in love with them. My foundation contour things are the same as they always would be. If you want to know what those are, you can check out the description bar below. But we not through because we still gotta finish off the eyes and do the lips. So I'm sitting back like, okay, what we gonna do first? What we gonna do first? I already know. We gonna head down here to this green palette because I really want to see what this green shadow looks like because it did give me a slight blue undertone with that white base underneath it. So just because we ain't even got time to play with them, I'm gonna go into this shade here, Nutty, with the pencil brush and use that on the lower lash line. Then we're gonna go in with this shade here, Cone or Cup, and use this with the push liner brush. And I'm telling you all, you would never need to wear this much makeup for no reason. I'm telling you, I got on more makeup than a drag queen, and I'm loving it. Okay, because I have that purple liner there, it's gonna really help accentuate that, but you can see that green transition shade underneath there. I wanted to see what one layer was gonna look like. So now I can really go in, buff and blend that out. And I wanna make sure this connects to the edge here. Doesn't have to blend together, but I wanna make sure it comes up to that point. And I wanna diffuse this rather low because I want that green transition shade to stick out. See how you can see that's green from across the room, honey? That's what we need. Be right back after I do this on the other side. Baby, I'm telling you, I absolutely love me a green shadow. Now we're gonna take a tiny push liner brush. We're gonna go in with that darker green. And we wanna get that as close to the lashes as possible, honey. And you wanna try to use this to deepen up the lower lash line and help that purple pop a little bit more. Connect it to the outside and the inside. Then we can go on to the next step. Bam! I can see that this side here is darker than this side. So we want to get them to match. Be right back. Oh yeah. Now, Torrence, this should be the end of this look. You should be able to call it that. Nope, 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 nope. We still want to go in and highlight our brow bone in our inner corner. Because we want to use the brightest shade for our inner corner highlight, I'm going to use this shade here, Dessert. And because I want something a little closer to my skin tone, we're going to grab this shade here, Sweet Life, and use this for the brow bone. Dessert. Let's see how she is. This green is going to pop against this purple like nobody's business and help you to see that that's the color we got down there on the bottom. Look at that green. Baby, loud, popping, extreme, over the top, just the way we like it. And something tells me I picked up way too much of this Sweet Life shade. I was about to wipe it off, but then I just thought about it. We're going for the extras today. Go ahead and slap that on there. Oh, I can tell I'm going to come back and use this shade for show. That Sweet Life shade instantly then became my favorite off just that. I know on camera that has to look nice and wet and glowy because in person it is immaculate. Oh, see, we got to do this again. Oh, if I wasn't into buying backups of palettes like I used to be, I promise you, I would get another palette of this green one is Pistachio just for that Sweet Life shade. Because something tell me if she that beautiful on the lid by herself, it's going to be an issue. Look at that. Look at that. We bold, we over the top. Do we want to do something else? we did our lips, honey. Let's go ahead and get into it. For lips, I knew I wanted to be over the top. I wasn't sure exactly how much I wanted to do, but I'm like, I got a green lipstick and I want to save that. It is Midnight Wasabi from Fenty Beauty, but I got a green eyeshadow look that I'm waiting for, so we're going to hold that off. Today, we're going to go into the Lip Bar's Crown Me. This is a purple liquid lipstick. Baby, I might regret this because I'm headed to work and got to put that face mask on. But y'all worth it, so we're going to go ahead and do it. This is a deep, dark purple liquid lipstick. And I'm telling you, honey, take your time, go slow. And because I got full DSLs, honey, look at those big old things. I'm going to take it and we're going to use this to create a lip liner first. Take your time, honey. Look at that. I want to try to get an opaque line. So I want to keep dipping to make sure the tip of my wand is as full as possible. They ain't even right now. But we ain't gonna worry about that. Now we're gonna dip again, hit that bottom lip. Get it one more again, honey. And then you can always go back in, sharpen things up. Yes. Look at that, honey. But I told you we was doing the most today. This ain't gonna be enough. They got another purple lipstick, Prima Donna. If you missed it last year, I believe for Black History Month of 2020, they did a set that had Prima Donna and it was a purple lip liner. Ever since then, I've been obsessed with both. Telling you. Gonna take this Prima Donna shade. And anytime I hear the word Prima Donna, it just reminds me of the rapper and her song Never. Because honey, these other beauty gurus could never. And we're going to take this and we're going to create this and use this as a lip filler shade. And do another line close to that. Look at that. You can already see the ombre going on. And just because my bottom lip is a little bigger, we're going to go in and do one more. Look at that. 2 different purple lipsticks, honey. Could you do any more? Could you be any extra? Yes, I can. Just because I like to highlight things and I want this to be a little over the top, and because we accentuated the inside with a little pink on the eyes, we got a pink lipstick right here. Because it's like, can you do any more? As if, yes we can. This is pretty as it is. But as if, I take it a step further. Trying to check to see if I got any liquid lipstick on my teeth. Look at that, girl. No, I ain't transferred yet. Yes, ma'am. Come back, tilt back, and grab that little last spot right there. Yes, ma'am. Look at that. Boy, honey, I know if you like me and you got plenty of lip space, honey, you're going to be able to recreate this look. Okay, I'm trying to make sure we get it on there without getting that purple on. Because we want to put this back in. And now, honey, it is time to just blot, blot, blot. You just want to press. And let that ombre do its own business. The outer area has already dried, so I can go in with this inner area and look at that. Look at that. Honey, I'm gonna have to tag the lip bar in this once I post these pictures because I'm doing the most. But that's what y'all here for. Anything else we can, oh, I was about to spray. I kept saying, Torrence, I don't think you can add anything else to this look. We're not gonna add lashes just because I know I'm headed to work. But because we're not gonna do that, this Urban Decay Volume Glitter Eyeliner, we can use her. She a pink glitter. She's absolutely stunning. And what we're gonna do is come right here along the edge of our eyeshadow and trace a line from our inner corner highlight straight up and around. And it ain't giving me the same amount of glitter all over, so you may have to go over certain spots just to make sure that sparkle comes through with you. But I'm gonna take this up to the halfway point, leave it just like that. You see how that's giving me an extra little glam and an extra little sparkle right there at the crease to help define it. Let's do that on the other side, sis. Oh yeah, look at that. And I can tell you, although we spent most of our time on these eyes, tell me this purple lip combo is not giving you life. To know we are wearing 3 different liquid lipsticks, it's like, sis, you're doing the most. But that's what we came here for. So now that I think that we're done, I'm trying to look around and see, like, Torrence, is there anything else you want to add? And I think we're going to call it that. So what we're going to go ahead and do, grab our spray so we can set everything, and make sure you grab yours. All right, you guys, you already know the routine. Fix Plus to give us a glowy do. All-nighter so things last all day. Cheap fan, expensive breeze, and with a colorful life like this, you know we're gonna have good times. Gonna give this a few more seconds to try, and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And this is the final look. I'm gonna go ahead and give you all a full face view of things before I give you all my final thoughts. And I'm telling you, honey, I'm loving it. I understand most people would never wear this much makeup at one time. I more than likely wouldn't wear it all every day like this. But like I told y'all, honey, I'm headed to work and I ain't gonna be bothered at all. And even though I titled this as an expert level tutorial, I promise you, if you just know the basics of makeup and you already do a full face yourself, this is something you can achieve. It's just one, it will take more time. If you can blend one transition shade all the way across, I promise you, you can take it halfway and then just go in and do a second shade. Will it take you up to twice as long? Possibly. Can it be achieved? I bet you it can. Same thing with this lip combo. I've never done this particular lip combo, but as someone who truly loves lips, like lips are my favorite part of the body, not only mine, but of everybody else's. Usually if it's not your lips, it more than likely will be your eyes. But I love doing lip combos like this, especially with my Fenty Beauty Stunner lip paints. I have every color they've released of those, so it's nothing to sit down and go through 2 or 3 of those, especially because Rihanna has fabulous lips. My lip bars, I don't have every shade they've dropped, but usually whenever they drop a new shade every month, I got that bad boy. So these 3 right here, look at this. It's pigmented, it's matte, it's comfortable. Like, I can honestly feel there's something on my lips, but as you saw, it never transferred to my teeth. I did put it on the back of my hand to try to clear off that doe foot, so there is some left here because I use just a regular hand soap and not a makeup remover first. But I'm telling you, I have no doubt that this is going to last throughout the day. I guess with my breathing, it may fog up my mask, so when I get off work, I may be purple all the way from here to here. But tell me I'm not looking fabulous. Tell me we're not doing the most. Tell me this is not over the top, honey. But I'm someone who really likes it. And you notice, even though my brows are not matching, honey, how many people gonna stop and say, oh, but your brows, Girl, why is you staring that hard? Why is you worried? I'm still cute. Don't be clocking my tea like that. But I hope you all truly did enjoy today's tutorial. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment down below if you would like to see more tutorials like this, or if you just wanted more detail on a specific area. Do not forget that I am still going to record my skincare routine. I will be posting that in the month of April. You all have been adamant. You see, that's that alarm. I'll be right back. Let me turn that off. I completely lost track of my thought because I had to go run and turn that alarm off, but I cannot risk being late for work. I just really wanted to say I love you all and I thank you for the support. I was slacking for a minute with the makeup tutorials, but we are back. And to make up for it, I wanted to make sure I put out 4 videos this week, with 3 of them being full tutorials. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I sort of been missing being on camera. But that's all I have to do for now. I gotta make sure when I get home I edit this video because this is being recorded on Friday and it will go up Saturday. Can't wait to see you all on Monday to see how you all feel about this look. But with nothing else, remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye, YouTube. And see, look, we don't even got purple on the hands, and I just pressed right up against it, honey. That's what I'm talking about. Well, come through, lip bar.